Guten Tag, this is Traveling Mike, and we're back in the cemetery. We're out in the country in Pidcoke Cemetery, and this little cemetery has some gruesome and sad tales to tell. We have one grave request out here to find, so let's look around and see if we can find that. And we'll look at the headstones, see if there's any markings I can fill you in on what their meanings are. Here's an interesting headstone with a photo on it. Pretty dapper looking guy. He was only 23 years old. The headstone has a morning glory flower on it, which is a symbol for a new life. This headstone has calla lilies on it. Calla lilies represent resurrection and rebirth because the flower itself, once it's been cut, it will regrow and start a new flower. This one has roses, and you see them pretty common in the cemetery. They're a symbol of eternal love. The photo request we have is for an Earl Wade Allen. There's a lot of Allens in this area here. One with a cool flag headstone on it. And we'll look around. He should be over here in this area. Some more Allens. Over here is, to the right, is his brother's headstone. Oh, and this one looks like his headstone. There's his headstone, Earl Wade Allen, born December 2nd, 1932, and died June 11th, 2022. So we'll take a photo of this and send it to the family. Here's a headstone where both people are still alive, but he is apparently the Justice of the Peace from 1991 to 2010. Here's a pair of angels, and angels represent guardians of the grave. Here's a headstone for a mason. Back behind it, there's a headstone with the cattle and ranching. That's pretty big in this area, so you're going to see a lot of those. Here's a headstone for an infant, which has the lamb on top, which represents innocence. And also, it has the drapery on it. When back in the day, the drapery was a symbol of mourning. And in the house, when the body would be laying to rest in the house, they would put all the drapery in there to show that you were in mourning. Here's a Woodman of the World headstone. Those are always interesting with the way they use logs. This headstone has the gates of heaven that are open. And you can also see the hand pointing towards the star. The star represents Jesus Christ. This is another one with the gates of heaven open. And you can also see the crown and the cross, and that represents Christ's sovereignty. Here's a headstone here with the hands shaking goodbye, and next to it there's one with the Bible. Over here's a pulpit style headstone, and it has the Book of Life on top. Here's a couple of interesting headstones. One's for an infant with a teddy bear. And here's a dolphin. Dolphins are used to represent carrying the soul across the ocean to heaven. Here's some older headstones over here. This one is an obelisk and it has the drapery hanging on top of it. And here's a couple more that have hands shaking goodbye. This one has some cut sheaves of wheat, and that stands for the eternal harvest. Here's one with the New Jerusalem at the top, and it says, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." Here's one with the hand pointing to heaven. This is actually the oldest known burial, although they have no name and no dates. But it's a gruesome story. Back in the 1800s, a little girl who lived nearby went out in the front yard alone, and their donkey named Jack actually got a hold of her and started flinging her through the air, taking bites out of her and chunks, and her mom came out to find pieces of her body all over the front of the yard. After that, it was said that the mother just sat in front of the window and stared into the distance. Now this gravestone is Maddie Jeter, of a little 6-year-old, and she is the actual first burial here in 1885. Her story, unfortunately, is she died when she fell out of the back of a wagon. Some sad stories out here in Pidcoke Cemetery. Here's a headstone with an eternal flame, which represents eternity. These headstones with poppies on them are pretty common in cemeteries. They represent eternal slumber. Well, I hope you enjoyed our trip in the cemetery today. We've had good luck, found the headstone we're looking for. So next time, come on out and I'll see you in the cemetery, who knows where.